Welcome to One Click English Lessons. Present simple. I do. You play. He reads. Present simple. Introduction. I get up at 7:30. I usually take the bus to school. The driver doesn't talk to us. I like languages. My teacher explains everything very clearly. We practice and learn a lot. We always take a break at 11 o'clock. Breaks finish at 11:40, 20 to 12. Teachers don't waste break time. On Tuesdays, we study science. Water freezes at 0 degrees centigrade and boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Present simple uses to talk about things in general or things that are always true. Banks open at 9 a.m. and close at 5:30 p.m. German people drink a lot of beer. The earth goes round the sun. Ice melts at 0 degrees centigrade. To talk about things that happen all the time or repeatedly. It takes a lot of time to fly to Australia. Thieves usually try to escape from the police. Trains and planes arrive and leave on time. Nurses work in hospitals. Policemen protect and help people. To say how often we do things. Habits. We usually use the present simple with frequency adverbs or time expressions. You never do your homework. We sometimes ask for our dinner on the phone. It often rains in Ireland. I usually get up at 7 o'clock. They always go to work on foot. My neighbors take their dog for a walk twice a day. She goes to the cinema every Wednesday. Present simple structure. For the affirmative, personal pronouns first and second person singular, use the infinitive. I like rugby and team sports. You smoke all the day. Plural subject, also use the infinitive. Personal pronouns we, you, they. We work in an office. You always drink tea at 5 o'clock. They study English every day. Third person singular subject, for example, Tom, Susan, the car. Personal pronouns he, she, it. Use the infinitive plus an s ending, s or es, for the third person singular. Henry reads a lot of books. Sarah watches too much TV. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Third person singular spelling. We use the infinitive for the first and second person singular, I and you, and for a plural subject, personal pronouns we, you, they. So infinitive, speak, play, look, read, wear, live, like. In general, use an s ending for the third person singular. Personal pronouns he, she, it. Speaks, plays, looks, reads, wears, lives, likes. With some infinitives we need an es ending. When the infinitive ends in s or double s, I, we, you, they, pass, he, she, it, passes. When the infinitive ends in sh, I, we, you, they, finish, he, she, it, finishes. Infinitive ending in ch, for example, watch, third person singular, watches. Infinitive ending in x, fix, third person singular, fixes. Infinitive ending in z, voiced s sound, buzzed, for example, third person singular, buzzes. These are all the sibilant sounds that need es ending in the infinitive for the third person singular. Also, when the infinitive ends in o, I, we, you, they, go, third person singular, he, she, it, goes. Or infinitive ending in consonant plus y, that is carry, for example, I, we, you, they, carry, third person singular, he, she, it, carries. Notice here that we replace the y with an I and then we add the ending es. Remember, it wasn't the case when the infinitive ends with vowel plus y. For example, play, third person singular, plays. So when consonant plus y, we replace this y with an I and then add the es ending. if the infinitive ends with vowel plus y, we keep this y and then add the s ending. This is the same rule as for the plural of nouns: bus, cross, bash, match, box, quiz. All these sibilant sounds ending in the noun need this es ending for the plural: buses, crosses, bashes, matches, boxes, quizzes. Also the o ending: potato, potatoes, consonant plus y, copy, copies. Third person singular spelling also for the infinitive: have, I, we, you, they have. Third person singular: has, he has, she has, it has. Okay, let's go on with the structure. If this was the structure for the affirmative, now in the negative we need to use an auxiliary verb. Do plus the negative particle not before the infinitive. I, you, do not, infinitive. I do not like rugby and team sports. You do not smoke all the day. The same for the plural subject. Personal pronouns: we, you, they, do plus negative particle not before the infinitive. We do not work in an office. You do not always drink tea at 5. They do not study English every day. But for the third person singular, before the infinitive we need the auxiliary verb does instead of do, and then the negative particle not. He, she, it does not plus infinitive. Attention! Notice that in negative and interrogative sentences the third person singular mark of present simple is found in the auxiliary verb does instead of do, and as always we must use the main verb in the infinitive form after an auxiliary verb. So after does we will use the infinitive. Henry does not read a lot of books. Sarah does not watch too much TV. Water does not boil at 80 degrees Celsius. Pay attention here that we usually use in the spoken language the contractions of the negative particle with the auxiliary verb do or does. Don't, doesn't. I do not like rugby and team sports. You do not smoke all the day. I don't like rugby and team sports. You don't smoke all the day. We don't work in an office. You don't always drink tea at 5. They don't study English every day. For the third person singular, does not is contracted to doesn't. Henry doesn't read a lot of books. Sarah doesn't watch too much TV. Water doesn't boil at 80 degrees Celsius, 80 grade centigrade. Remember that if this is the structure for the affirmative, we need the auxiliary verb do or does before the personal pronoun, before the subject. For the interrogative, then we have the infinitive and at the end always the question mark. I like rugby and team sports in the affirmative would be, do I like rugby and team sports? You smoke all the day would be, do you smoke all the day? The same for the plural subject, personal pronouns we, you, they. Need the auxiliary verb before and then the infinitive and question mark at the end. We work in an office. Do we work in an office? You always drink tea at 5. Do you always drink tea at 5? They study English every day. Do they study English every day? And for the third person singular, instead of do, we use the auxiliary verb in the third person singular, does. Remember that this is the mark for the third person singular, and we always use the infinitive with an auxiliary verb and at the end the question mark. So in the affirmative, Henry reads a lot of books, Sarah watches too much TV, water boils at 80 degrees centigrade. Would be coming in the interrogative. Does Henry read a lot of books? Does Sarah watch too much TV? Does water boil at 100 degrees centigrade? Affirmative, infinitive, speak, third person singular, speaks, play, plays, live, lives, watch, watches, do, does, have, has. Negative, do not, plus infinitive, does not, plus infinitive, the contraction don't or doesn't for the third person singular, plus the infinitive. Interrogative, remember always the inversion, we need the auxiliary verb do or does before the subject, I, we, you, they, he, she, it, and then the verb, the infinitive, question mark at the end. Present simple, short answers. Affirmative, yes, plus personal pronoun and auxiliary verb. Yes, I do. Yes, you do. Yes, he does. Yes, she does. Yes, it does. Yes, we do. Yes, you do. Yes, they do. The same for the negative. After no, we would need the personal pronoun, the auxiliary verb, do or does, and the negative particle not. No, I do not. No, she does not. No, they do not. With the contractions. No, you don't. No, she doesn't. No, they don't. Do you like cheese? Yes, I do. It's delicious. Does John play tennis? No, he doesn't. Do your brothers study at home every day? Yes, they do. Do you and Peter live here? No, we don't. Present simple, frequency adverbs, position, always before the main verb. I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they, the subject. Frequency adverb before the main verb. For example, I never tell lies. You never make mistakes. He sometimes plays tennis. She often travels to Italy. It usually rains in the north. We usually finish the first. You always go to the cinema. They always come with us. Frequency adverbs, position after verb to be. So remember, before the main verb, and if it is verb to be, it is after verb to be. So subject, verb to be, frequency adverb. I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they, am, are, is, are. For example, I am never tired. You are never angry. He is sometimes happy. She is often at home. It is often sunny. We are usually in time. You are always hungry. They are always outside. Practice. Transform the following sentences in the negative form. Example: we love watching TV. We don't love watching TV. They live in Italy. Negative. They don't live in Italy. I study a lesson every day. I don't study a lesson every day. Tom and Pam usually play tennis. Tom and Pam don't usually play tennis. Remember that the frequency adverb goes before the main verb. Even if it is a negative sentence, it is placed between the auxiliary verb with the negative particle and the main verb. So always before the main verb. Karen smokes too much. Negative. Karen doesn't smoke too much. He paints very well. He doesn't paint very well. They go shopping every week. Negative. They don't go shopping every week. They do not go shopping every week. You always do your homework. Negative. You don't always do your homework. Catherine likes vegetables. Negative. Catherine doesn't like vegetables. His sisters hate Justin Bieber. Negative. His sisters don't hate Justin Bieber. Pay attention, his sisters is plural. Okay, his sisters don't hate Justin Bieber. Peter works very hard. Negative. Peter doesn't work very hard. Now transform them in the interrogative form. Example: we love watching TV. Interrogative: do we love watching TV? 1. They live in Italy. Interrogative: do they live in Italy? I study a lesson every day. Do I study a lesson every day? Tom and Pam usually play tennis. Do Tom and Pam usually play tennis? Pay attention, Tom and Pam, it's a plural subject, can be replaced by they. Do they usually play tennis? Karen smokes too much. Interrogative: does Karen smoke too much? He paints very well. Interrogative: does he paint very well? They go shopping every week. Do they go shopping every week? You always do your homework. Interrogative: do you always do your homework? Catherine likes vegetables. Does Catherine like vegetables? His sisters hate Justin Bieber. Do his sisters hate Justin Bieber? Peter works very hard. Does Peter work very hard? Complete the following sentences with the present simple of the verbs given. So we must use these verbs in the present simple to complete these sentences. Example: Peter likes apples. He eats 6 apples a day. Paul and Sarah go to Italy every summer, but they don't speak Italian very well. We always buy lemons when we go to the market. He always buys lemons when he goes to the market. Now for this question, auxiliary verb. How often do they clean their flat? Susan usually has dinner at 8:30. Question again. Does the museum close at 6 o'clock? Where do you live? The concert finishes before 11:45. Jerry studies biology every afternoon. Negative sentence. Phil doesn't wash his car on Sundays. What does Helen do? What's her job? Good job. Well done. Bye bye.